Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Legends with Terry. Today we are looking at the Kaiser, the Tier 3 German battleship. And yes, this is the very first battleship that I unlocked, and it's the very first battleship in the German tech tree line. So, the Kaiser. I'm still really new to Legends, so I'm not really going to be able to tell you an awful lot about the ships themselves. But I believe somewhere in here was a way to see a little bit more in detail about the ship. I think it was this one, yeah. Unfortunately, this really doesn't tell us an awful lot. It tells us that we have above average armor thickness, which is great, and that we've got superior high explosive penetration. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of penetration mechanics because I'm not that familiar with them myself. But I did have a bit of a look around. Unfortunately, there's no armor viewer in Legends Mobile. It's really more of a companion to the console, I feel. And as such, I don't really have a way to see, what the actual armor layout is on the ship or comment on it. But this is, like I said, the first German battleship, or the first battleship in total that I unlocked. And I was curious to go and have a look and try out the ship and see how battleships play in World of Warships Legends. As you can see, I am not even yet done with unlocking the upgrades. So for now, I only have the hull B, which gives us, I believe, more hit points and better secondaries, something of that direction. And as the module, I've got the secondary battery mod in here, which gives us better range and dispersion on the secondaries. Now, secondaries in Legends is a bit different than secondaries in Blitz, because in Blitz you get to control the secondaries. In Legends, not so much. And I believe I can't even change the ammo type on the secondaries, so it's just pinned to high explosive shells, of which I have no idea how much damage they're doing. But what I do know is that the Kaiser, and I do have a couple of camos, but I'm not really using them just yet, because it's just tier 3 and it feels like a little too much. What I do know is that the Kaiser is, I think, one of the highest hit point pools in that tier, so that should be good. On the ship is, if I'm going to get over there, on the ship is my, that's not the right ship. Where is the Kaiser? There's the Kaiser. There we go. On the ship is Reinhard Scheer, who I cannot look at. Oh, here, commander profile. And so far, I've given him the increased fire chance. Yes, that might sound weird, but the alternatives were torpedo speed, which makes no sense, and superior AA, which I think also doesn't really make that much sense, especially that the secondaries are setting fires. I felt like that might not be a terrible idea. I've got improved surface detection, although traverse speed might have been a good choice as well. I can always change that. And then I've got maximum speed and main battery range for the skills on this commander. Again, I'm not an expert, I'm just new around here and having some fun. So if that's not a good profile, please, and you have experience, please do let me know. I'm always happy to learn new things. But let's get going and see the Kaiser in action. We are playing on Archipelago in a domination mode, and one thing I noticed is that there are a fair amount of players actually active, which is really refreshing. I actually get not to play against bots in standard battles, which is quite nice. So yeah, there she is, the Kaiser, looking good. Good old dreadnought, super dreadnought battleship, and leadership of her class actually quite famous during the Battle of Jutland. Or Jutland, if you want. But what I'm going to be doing is, I'm sort of thinking of supporting our western flank here a little bit, because there are only 2 cruisers, and this is tier 3 battles, so I assume most people here don't really have a great idea of what they're doing either. So if you excuse me, I'll just let myself through here, and then I'll sail around the western flank and make sure that I can give some fire support to these cruisers. One thing that's really different in Legends is that the torpedoes really do a lot of damage. And yeah, that's something you gotta be careful. The other thing that's really different in Legends when you compare it to, say, Blitz, is that armor angling makes a big difference, although that's a cruiser. And I believe my guns, these are 305mm guns, and the game doesn't tell me that, but I know that because this is the Kaiser. These guns should be able to penetrate and overmatch the armor from the front, if I'm not mistaken, but I might be. There is a carrier, as you can see, so the AA is popping away. And I'm seeing if I can do something about dodging any of these torpedoes that the carrier has just dropped, but yeah, that's not really happening. I've been slowing down, trying to make that happen. I do need to take more lead. Yeah, this is something I'm still learning as well. But that's a fully broadsiding Kuma, so if I can get a couple of shots in, that would be grand. And now, after that failed attempt at dodging carrier torpedoes, we're gonna get ourselves back into the action. I do have heals now because I'm on a battleship, and there is a Mikasa over there. I'm not sure if that's a premium over here. It is a premium in Warships Blitz. And I believe that Kuma has just stopped, so let's send some shells his way. But yeah, German dispersion on the main guns, not so much. I think we got 4 hits in, but we only did a total of 2,400 damage, so I believe most of these have probably overpenetrated. And the Kuma is now reversing, but has run into an island. So at 8 kilometers, main guns, let's see if we can be a little bit more successful. Again, a question of dispersion, but shots out, and we will see where that lands. I'm trying to aim for the central area, and there we go, that's more like it. And that is now suddenly very much less of a Kuma than it used to be before that. And I think the Q turret is still turning around. We've got an Aurora over there. Now the Aurora doesn't have any torpedoes, the Kuma does. And I have no idea what the torpedo ranges are in here, so I am being a little careful and less aggressive than I probably would otherwise be. But shots out at the Aurora at 10 kilometers, German dispersion. And where are they landing? Yeah, we're straddling. That is historically somewhat accurate. That's what battleships used to do. And we are starting to draw some fire from the left there. And I am being careful not to give broadside to any larger guns, but I believe the Mikasa is the only one, and that thing does not have particularly large guns, or not particularly many of them either. See if we can finish off that Kuma over there, while we are getting... yep, there she goes. Nice citadel, while we are getting set on fire by the Aurora over here. Or at least that's what he's trying to do. And there's also another cruiser, so the Aurora does not have torpedoes, but whatever that other thing is might have. And in that regard, again, I am trying to do something, but that's probably an over-penetration on the Aurora. It could have been a penetration, difficult to tell. I think it's like 8,000 points of that alpha damage that these guns are having, so that's what you get on a Citadel. Regular penetrations gives 30%, over-penetrations I think 10% or something, so... somewhere in that ballpark. But the Aurora is going undetected. I've now got 2 fires going, so I think at this point damage control is probably in order. And I've already got the heal running, so that is another Kuma. And again, I have no idea what the torpedo range on these things is, so I'm erring on the side of caution here. And well, let's let him come. The Aurora has disengaged for now after being shot at by me. So let's see if we can do something about that Kuma. The last one exploded in a very satisfying manner. That's 10 kilometers. So again, I am not giving quite enough lead, and yeah, that was an over-penetration. Because I find it difficult to visually judge the distance. I need to learn to pay more attention to the indicators, to visually judge the distance to the enemy ship, because it looks very, very similar if it's on 10 kilometers or if it's on 7-8 kilometers when you're in the zoom view. So let's see if we can get the guns around for another attempt. This time I'm gonna give enough lead. And now we're at a closer range as well, so shots out, just skirting over the mountain there. And 2 hits, 2 citadels. If that had been a third one, that would have been an ex-Kuma. I've got a callback over there, but there is something a little closer than that. Yep, that's the Mikasa who's coming down now. So maybe we can get ourselves into secondary range and be a bit useful. So far, it's only that one cruiser and myself holding this holding down this flank here. But the enemy team's lost 3 ships by now, and that Mikasa, I don't know how much armor he has, but I'm sticking with the armor piercing for now. And while he sets me on fire, it's just a single fire, not going to do anything. I also have the secondary overload skill that I can use. I just don't know what the range is on the secondaries, because the game doesn't tell me that. So I'm waiting for them to open up before I use the skill. And that was a penetration, so I can penetrate through the frontal armor. And I think now we're probably... Yep, there they go, they're opening up. So now we can use the secondary overload skill and see what that does. And how much that improves. Yeah, the accuracy on those secondaries, despite the captain skill, is not great. I mean, look at that. These are 150mm secondaries, but they are going everywhere. This thing has a couple of 88s as well, dual purpose. But I'm trying to stay angled against Mikasa, because while she doesn't have an awful lot of guns, and she only has one twin turret forwards, still don't want to get any citadels. And yeah, there's the Kuma again. So torpedo alert. Full on turn, and let's see if we can get the guns on target on that Kuma. This is probably the one I double citadeled earlier. So shots out at that thing, and that did not do an awful lot. So we do have to dodge the torpedoes that inevitably are going to be coming down my direction. And meanwhile, the secondaries can work on the Mikasa, and we are scoring secondary hits now quite a lot. And there come the Kuma torpedoes. Unsurprising, so he's turning around to get the torpedoes on the other side away, I guess. So once again, salvo out, but shouldn't have bothered. Citadel, and he's dead. Now, unfortunately, the Mikasa is on the other side of me, which means I need to swing my gun turrets around. This thing does have an on-echelon setup for the central turrets, so at least one of them should be able to swing around relatively quickly. But other than that, there's also a... I'm not even sure what that is. Is it the Phoenix, maybe? By the looks of it. That is in a point-blank engagement with the enemy Mikasa, which is brave of him. So I do have a little bit of time to get my guns around. And the secondaries, in the meantime, are working the ship over. I'm not sure where that torpedo came from. That might have been one of the Kuma torpedoes that he has launched earlier from when he was turning around. But now we're starting to get the gun turrets on target. So now we can start working on that Mikasa. We've taken out his forward gun turret, which means, and then the Phoenix finishes him off. And that is a dead Mikasa. And I believe that is that flank defended, I would say. Well done, Phoenix. I think we've defeated a Mikasa and two Kumas. So all in a day's work here, while being also still under air attack from the carrier. Which comes again, by the way, down here. I still have some AA guns left. I've lost a couple from the close range engagement with the Mikasa, but we'll see if we can still shoot something down. Our team is capping at this point, and the enemy carrier is the only ship left alive, so not an awful lot that he's still going to be able to do. So all in all, while we are waiting for our team to cap, all in all, do I enjoy battleships? Not so sure about that. It's kind of satisfying to blow up cruisers, but at the same time, oh, there is the carrier. At the same time, you don't get to control your secondaries, and it takes your primary guns quite a while to reload. So while we're trying to do something about that whole show over there, I'm not super sure if battleships are going to be my preferred class of ship in this game, or if I'm going to stick with cruisers, or like in World of Warships Blitz, or I will give destroyers a try as well. As you have seen earlier, I do actually have a camper down, because I'm not sure how that disabled my rudder. That's the wrong end of the ship, Wargaming. The rudder is on the other end. It's on the rear. I did actually get a premium ship out of the AFK research bureau thingy. And that's quite neat, because on Blitz I do have a camper down there, but I had to pay for it. And here I got it for free, so I might actually be trying some destroyer action next. But yeah, this was the Kaiser, one of my first battles in the ship. As you can see, not particularly well upgraded just yet, but 5 citadels, 2 kills, and 47 secondary hits and 5 airplanes has put me on the top of the team list, which I am rather proud of, given that I have absolutely no experience in this game. So, yeah, that's the Kaiser. I might feature her again if I get like a really great battle in the ship. Otherwise, the next thing you're probably going to see is me trying something fancy with destroyers and seeing how that goes. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.